Aquarius, hello. This is Ashley. We're going to do your reading for the last week of September. We're going to look at a strength, a challenge, and then a potential outcome. And what else? I am doing bonus readings for each of the signs. I'll link yours at the end of this video. It's going to be a bonus reading on the Mercury retrograde that we're about to enter into in the sign of Libra. So that'll be linked at the end of this video. Be sure to check out your Sun, Moon, Rising, and Venus for a full picture of what you might be seeing for this reading, which is the week of September 26th. There are a couple of, I think it's the 1st and 2nd of October that's showing up at the end of this week, but I will be doing a full October reading as well. So that'll be coming out next week. If this is not your reading, like I said, check your other placements. But if it resonates, I would love a like and a subscribe from you. And let me know down below in the comments what you think. So let's see what we got going on for Aquarius for the week of September 26th. We have the Emperor, the Knight of Cups, and the Queen of Swords, the Ace of Wands, the Nine of Wands, and the Five of Pentacles. We have the Death card, the Five of Swords, and the Seven of Swords. At the bottom of the deck we have the Six of Swords. Lots of mental energy coming in that I'm noticing here. Could be moving on from something, some kind of rite of passage that you're going through. Could be moving into a calmer situation. Could actually be moving. That's popped up for the other two air signs, so could be a theme that's going on in the collective that's impacting the air signs of the zodiac. Now that could be an actual physical move. It could be just moving into a new cycle and leaving an old one behind. Let's see what I'm initially picking up here. It looks like that moon that we just had in the sign of Pisces on the 20th of September is particularly having an impact on you, Aquarius. Some sort of like a rebirth taking place, like an ending with a new beginning coming in. Now, what I do think you are probably going to be struggling with is a little bit too much mental activity, perhaps buying into your thoughts more than necessary. Could be causing you some stress here. And it does look like perhaps some maybe even a change up in the circle of friends that you have. Could be a friendship or a new person coming in. Someone that you feel like is kind of on the same page as you. Let's see what we get. So in the strength position, we have the silver lunar dragon. So that's that full moon energy I was just talking about. Now I am filming this the day after the full moon. So today is the 21st. Now this reading is for the week of the 26th, but something about this moon has certainly had an impact on you. It says bathes you in divine feminine light. Come into balance and practice peace, harmony, and cooperation. And so, could definitely have been getting some serious feminine energy off of that Pisces full moon. Pisces is a feminine sign. We do have the Emperor, the Ace of Wands, and the Death card here. So I do feel like you have some sort of new inspired beginning. I feel like this Emperor is you, Aquarius. But I think something has closed out here. Could just be, like I said, some kind of rite of passage that you've gone through. Could be a relationship that's come to an end, just a phase of your life that has come to a close. But on the same, it's like in the same fell swoop, there was this new spark of inspiration coming in here. Now the Emperor is Aries energy. Could be dealing with an Aries, a Scorpio here, fire sign showing up potentially. But it kind of feels like you stepping into your power, but perhaps in such a way that has been really guided by the feminine energy. You know, the Emperor you could see as divine masculine. And this divine feminine energy has clearly had an impact on you in this last week. And it is showing up in your row of strength. So let's get some more detail here. See what this might be talking about. Now, I do kind of get this feeling that some sort of wonderful cosmic-like inspiration is coming in, but it could have you kind of guarding up a little bit. That is showing up here. Like it might scare you a little bit. So let's see what we get. And when I'm speaking of divine masculine and divine feminine, just keep in mind that you have both within you. You have an action side and you have a resting, intuitive side. So it could just be an inner alignment that has taken place. Okay. We have the Emperor. We have the World. So there's that cycle that is coming to an end. Card's been coming up a ton. And we have the King of Wands. So some Sagittarius energy. With the Ace of Wands, we have some Leo energy with the Strength card. And the Three of Wands. And with the Death card, we have the Eight of Swords and the Hermit, so some Virgo coming in there. It does feel like the end of kind of a rest period. It could very well be that during this past lunation, what's coming to a close is this hermitage that you've potentially been in. This time of self-reflection kind of feels like almost a pause, like being in the void, if that makes sense. And I think that's coming to a close. I do feel like part of that slowdown or stop that you've been experiencing has been because of a lot of mental activity, a ton of thinking happening there. And while I do feel like you've learned a lot, with that Hermit energy, I think that period of time is coming to an end here. Now, I do feel like you are being presented with a new beginning here, a potential for an expansion. Could also be a move. We have the World, the Three of Wands, and that Six of Swords. Like I said, that's coming up a lot for these air sign readings. Doesn't have to be. but some sort of expansion, but it's requiring you to really put on a brave face here. Because it's like some sort of intuitive calling with that feminine energy coming into play here. Something that you're being asked to nurture and put time and passion into. A lot of fire showing up here. So something inspirational is pushing you forward and asking you to step forward with like a softer control. We have this Emperor and then we have the Strength here. And while I feel like you're in your power with this Emperor, there's this lovely combo of that feminine intermingled with that masculine. So it feels more like a soft strength with that Strength card. It's not something controlling or like overly dominant. It just feels like this very self-empowered, calm energy, which is really nice. So we'll see if we can get more of what that story is about here. In the challenge position, we have the higher power, but it's in the reverse. And you can see it's like this angelic being, and she's got a keyhole on her third eye. And it's just talking about your higher power. Now this could be source, spirit, the universe, your higher self. But when it's showing up in the reverse, it's talking about you relying on something smaller than your higher self or something smaller than your higher power. And I feel like what is really showing is that you're maybe giving too much power to the mind. Because, like I was saying before, there's a lot of thinking energy, mental energy that's going on. We have the Knight of Cups, the Nine of Wands, and the Five of Swords. I do feel like perhaps this potential expansion, this Ace of Wands that you're being asked to take up and to, have the courage to go for, is potentially this love offer. Could be dealing with a water sign. And I feel like you're guarded against this. I feel like there's a lot of worry about it. Perhaps there's been a lot of conflict in the past, and that is what your mind is telling you. And I feel like you're kind of guarded and not accepting initially this offer that's coming in. And it does somehow feel tied. Even though this is the Knight of Cups, it feels tied to this Ace of Wands. So let's see what this might be. Why do we have the Knight of Cups? We have the Star. There's you. And the King of Pentacles. This is Taurus energy. We have the Nine of Wands. We have the Six of Cups. And the Three of Swords. And with the Five of Swords, we have the Moon. And the Ten of Swords. Okay. So, like I said, a lot of mental activity going on here. So, I feel like there's an offer coming into you. It feels stable. It feels like a stable offer. I do feel like you're showing up as all these kings. Now, whether that means you're a masculine or feminine, not gender specific. But I think you're showing up with a lot of personal strength here, and it's coming through as these kings. And I think there's some sort of healing offer that's coming in, some sort of new beginning. And I think on an intuitive level, it feels really good to you. But on a mental level, you're a mess. You're a mess. There's been heartbreak associated with this in the past, potentially betrayals, there's fears coming up, there's arguments, there's all kinds of stuff going on here. Now, I'm not seeing any queens on the board. I'm not even seeing the Empress just yet. But we do have the Six of Cups and the Three of Swords here. And I feel like perhaps you're guarded against a potential soul connection here that has hurt you in the past. And there's a lot of fears coming up about this. Could be dealing with a Cancer, Aquarius, Taurus, water sign. We have air, fire. It could be any of those. But I feel like you're being offered this, like, it almost feels like a truce. And it definitely feels like a romance, perhaps. But you have a lot of resistance to this. And I think part of why this is in your challenge is because you've spent time in the past in quite a bit of mental energy. I mean, Virgo does a lot of thinking. It's ruled by Mercury. And we have this Eight of Swords, right? Now, the strength is that that's coming to an ending in your strength position. You have the option here to either tap into that feminine aspect of yourself and use that intuition, or you can resist in this challenge row and remain stuck in kind of more of that mental space. And even from the beginning of this reading, we only had 2 swords on the table. It still already felt like too much mental activity. And so, you know, keep that in mind. The mind, the mental space, is, of course, highly useful. You are an air sign, you're a thinker, you're an Aquarius. But there's something deeper that's coming through here. We have all this feminine energy showing up, asking you to tap into your higher self. And that's not mental. That is intuitive. That's heart space activity, right? And so it feels like you're presented with an option here. You can step through this portal, through this rite of passage, and start this new beginning. It does require bravery to do so. And it looks like it's like this, I keep wanting to say truce. It's like this healing energy that's coming in with that Knight of Cups. But there's this temptation to remain in this old energy, which is kind of what I pick up from this King of Pentacles. I mean, he's stable, he's abundant, but you can also see that perhaps he's holding on to like old paradigms here, right? And so there's a flip side to everything. So let's look at this outcome. We have birds of a feather. And of course we know that saying, birds of a feather flock together. And so could be a lot of chatter going on here, all these birds, a lot of talk, could be spending quite a bit of time with friends, communication really heightened here. But in particular, this card talks about, you know, soul tribe, finding your people, the people of a like mind that support you throughout your journey. And it may be that this person that's coming in and making this genuine offer, you feel like perhaps they are not part of that tribe anymore. Perhaps the two of you just don't resonate. We have the Queen of Swords, the Five of Pentacles, and the Seven of Swords. I do feel like there's a potential here that this outcome is some kind of rejection. Whether it's them moving on and rejecting you, or vice versa. With this Five of Pentacles, it's a loss. It's like a rejection, the door shuts, right? And this Queen of Swords can be straight up, honest, and cuts to the chase kind of energy. And then we have this Seven of Swords, which can be just kind of like, it can certainly be like betrayal, maybe a little bit of secrets, maybe some deception, but can also just be you like walking away, or this person walking away. So let's see what's going on with this, Aquarius. Why do we have the Queen of Swords? We have the Page of Wands and the Nine of Swords. With the Five of Pentacles, we have the Page of Cups and the Fool. And with the Seven of Swords, we have the Page of Swords and the Temperance card. Okay, so I feel like potentially something harsh comes up. I feel like there's perhaps a conversation that comes up, and it gets a little feisty between you and this person, perhaps. With that Page of Wands and the Nine of Swords and the Queen of Swords coming in together, I kind of feel like there perhaps is maybe just some, maybe not even an argument, but just some straight up truth that can feel a bit brutal, right? And it causes some stress. I almost feel like somebody here is just tired of being worried about it. And it's like, done, over it, I'm done. Is kind of what I feel like with that Queen of Swords there. Like, here's what I need, here's what you want, maybe we're not on the same page anymore. And I am noticing that these birds, see how they're on all different levels? They're all together, but they are not on the same level. And so it could very well be that this relationship itself has gone through a change, gone through some sort of rite of passage with that Six of Swords, right? And now it's changing into something else. Perhaps you go from lovers to just being friends, like for real. I know that's not possible for a lot of people. It can be a difficult transition to even pull off. But I feel like you are looking for someone that's on your level. I feel like this person is doing the same thing. And you may decide that that's not where you're at, or you don't feel like that's where you're at. Now, with the Five of Pentacles, the Page of Cups, and the Fool card here, I feel like something about this conversation. I feel like this Queen of Swords, now while you are an Aquarius and the Queen of Swords is an air sign, I don't know that this is you. I feel like this person comes in, says what they have to say, makes you a little stressed. They've had enough. There's some rejection here, and I feel like perhaps you maybe decide to come forward with an apology with that Page of Cups. And I feel like you perhaps, it's almost like you get pushed into taking a leap of faith. Something about the rejection. Forces you over like an edge here. With the Seven of Swords, the Page of Swords, and the Temperance, I do feel like there's some conversations that go on here to try and heal some things. So that energy's popped up a couple of times. It's like, I think that there needs to be some healing here. And perhaps you just are catching one another at the wrong times, or it can feel that way. Because when the first person comes forward to offer this healing truce, like I was talking about, you're not into it. And then they get fed up, and then you want to offer it. And so it's like this, you're just not on the same page. And I do feel like maybe there's a little too many people in the mix here. Not that there's a third party situation, but I think there could be a little too many people talking to you about this, or talking to this other person about it, and it's just adding confusion. You know, when I said, like, with this birds of a feather, there's 4 birds on this card, and they're all like peep, 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 peep. And so it could just be that there's too many chefs in the kitchen, if you want to put it that way. I think there's potential to heal this, and I think there's potential here to kind of go through this rite of passage. I think the decision that you're going to have to make, Aquarius, is whether or not you fall into that more balanced masculine-feminine alignment, or you get stuck in this mental place, right? Because you could even see this as like 2 different outcomes. Endings, rejection, or healing. And so pay attention to that. I mean, certainly it's up to you how you handle this, of course. But I think really, in a nutshell, what could help you kind of narrow down what to do here, because there's so much fear and heartbreak and stuck mental energy here. I think you really need to kind of decide, is this someone that's part of your tribe? Or were they once and they no longer are? So I hope that was helpful, Aquarius. Reminder, I'm linking the video to your Mercury retrograde specific to the sign of Aquarius at the end of this video. So be sure to check that out. I have seen some of these energies kind of trickle into that, which makes sense. Our time frames are lining up for that Mercury retrograde. This reading's for the week of the 26th, and that retrograde kicks into gear on the 27th. So definitely coming into play here. This might get re-reviewed at some point later in the next several weeks, as that retrograde kind of goes back and forth in its shadow zone for Mercury. So let me know what you think down below, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.